I'm going to be sharing with you two experiences I've had just over the last couple of days being the customer on the other end involved with two different types of service businesses. One involved I needed some work on my well. I once had an individual years ago, liked everything about my experience with him. Turned out we didn't need some work done, but down the road we would. We've gotten down that road. In the interim, I certainly had some needs for a plumber. Viewed him as a well guy. When he came the second time to do the work on the well, we were talking about various elements. He brought up the fact, well, you didn't call me for X, Y, and Z jobs. And I mentioned to him, I said, you and I only ever spoke about a well. I assume that's all you did. Sure, maybe I could have jumped the hurdle and thought, well, if you work on wells, you deal with pipes, now you're a plumber. Maybe I could have done all those things. Now, when he kind of, let me say, scolded me a bit for that situation, I nicely pointed out that, kind of work in this industry. And gosh, I've been a customer of yours for, we might have spanned about 7 years' time. You've never once reached out to me about anything. You've never sent me any type of offer, incentive to work with you. You've never sent anything as far as a checkup, any reason for you to reach out to generate business. And I had to explain to him, my job isn't to help you generate business. That's your job as a business owner. Does this maybe relate a little bit to anything you might encounter? Curious to know. In the comments, let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Second situation was, ended about 5 minutes ago. Dropped off a car. I drive a high-end car. That might be something where I splurge a little bit. Second time walking into this situation as far as for service at this dealership. Gentleman met me, drove into their garage, handed me my keys. He said, you're all set. You're good to go. I still walked into the service area. No one greeted me. No one looked at me. No one acknowledged me. I was waiting for a ride, so I waited inside for a couple of minutes because I was under this assumption that they're going to call me. No one ever called me. At some point, listen, I've got to get about my day. They had also moved my appointment from a time that was more convenient to inconvenient, but I said, no problem. Now, I just received a call from the head of this service department, and in his asking me questions and doing his due diligence, he mentioned that, and when they say, well, we must have assumed, he's saying, we assumed you know. And he talked about the process about how they go about doing their business. Now, here's the thing. Don't assume your customer understands how you go about your business. And while I didn't express this to him, because I'm not looking to be argumentative or rude, to be frank with you, I'm not thinking at all about how you operate your business. That morning, you know what I'm thinking about? My business, the things I need to do. Don't assume ever that your customer knows how you go about the business. If you tell someone who walks into their business and turned over a key and says, you're all set, you're good to go, I'm going to go, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going to do that. And folks, in both of these situations, here's where I tie them together. Somehow they like to tell me it was my fault. I've owned multiple homes. I've had multiple cars. I've worked with service dealers all over. Never had a situation where I was told, you ought to know how we do business, or you should know what I do for work. Folks, you've got to have a steady line of communication with your customers. You need to be clear with your customers from the point when you spend any money on an ad right up to the last second they deal with you, what it is you want those folks to do, and work closely with them. And if at any point along that line things fall through the cracks or something goes wrong, guess whose fault it is? It's you, the business. These two businesses feel as somehow me spending thousands of dollars with each of them somehow might have got something wrong. I didn't. I'm not going to spend a lot of time learning all the different types of services and elements that you could offer me as a business owner. I'm not doing it. And guess what? I'm not alone. Other thing, If you have a process in place and you ask me to come in and do business in your business, you better have everything buttoned up and in line. And if things don't go right, guess whose fault it is? Not mine. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do better as business owners. This is just unacceptable. On another note, I'm just putting the finishing touches, I should say, on a document to help you determine where you should, and more importantly, where you shouldn't advertise and spend your money, giving it away for free. Go ahead down in the comments and say yes, please, and I'll get that over to you as soon as possible. Have a great day. Cheers.